I'm Tom Tunison, Vice Chair of the Thurman Munson Hall of Fame Committee, and on behalf of the committee, we are thrilled that Thurman Munson has been chosen for this year's Modern Era Baseball Committee ballot. There are fine players listed on the ballot this year, and we want to congratulate all those honored. Obviously, we feel very strongly about Thurman Munson's Hall of Fame caliber career, and we would like to share our thoughts on his case. When reviewing the ballot, the two catchers stand out, Thurman Munson and Ted Simmons. Since the Hall somehow is underrepresented at the most demanding position on the field, it is heartening to see their names together. When you study their careers, it is quite clear they both were outstanding hitters, with career batting averages of .292 for Munson and .285 for Simmons. While Simmons hit for more power with a 118 OPS plus than Munson at 116, there is barely any separation. Munson spent most of his career firmly entrenched in the number 3 spot in the batting order, while Simmons generally batted cleanup. Both were terrific heart of the order batters, hitting for average, power, and excellent in the clutch during all-star filled careers. In fact, with runners in scoring position, Munson batted .302 and Simmons .299. Such clutch hitting places them into an elite level against every other catcher in baseball history. For good measure, Simmons totaled 1,550 hits and Munson 1,536 for the decade of the 70s. Another too close to call comparison. But when it came to the postseason, Munson separated himself from Simmons and every other catcher in the history of baseball. In leading the New York Yankees to back-to-back World Series titles in 1977 and 1978, his .357 career postseason batting average is the highest ever for all players with at least 130 at-bats, and it's 97 points higher than the average Hall of Fame catcher. His OPS is a fantastic .874. He set defensive records by gunning down 24 base stealers at a 44% clip, matching his career percentage to a T. Of the 40 postseason playoff teams in the 1970s, Thurman Munson faced the 3 top stolen base teams of those 40 teams: the 1976 Cincinnati Reds, the 1976 Kansas City Royals, and the 1978 Kansas City Royals. Thurman Munson faced every challenge, and he still threw out 44% of the base runners stealing against him in postseason play. Thurman Munson could beat you in so many ways, and he would do just that. The postseason became his platform to show the baseball world exactly who he was. In his first postseason series against the Kansas City Royals, he knocked out 10 hits. In his first World Series against the Cincinnati Reds, he set records with 6 consecutive hits. He batted .529, the highest average ever for a player on a losing team. He threw out 4 base runners in a 4-game series. No catcher had ever done that. In 1977, his first at-bat, he extended his World Series hitting streak to 7 games with a base hit off Hall of Famer Don Sutton. In 1978 versus the Kansas City Royals, he hit an epic Game 3, game-winning home run in the bottom of the 8th, deep into the Yankee bullpen. That will never be forgotten.
Strikes to Munson. Try he is. Munson hits it high, hits it well to left. Wilson going way back, way back. It is. Oh! The damaged man.
In 1978 versus the Dodgers in the World Series, he had 5 RBIs in 1 World Series game, becoming only the 3rd catcher in postseason World Season history, joining Bill Dickey and Johnny Bench, both Hall of Fame greats.
Can't get it. 1 run in. Roy White will score 2 runs in. Munson has a double. He's having quite a day, Joe.
Simmons, however, batted a meager .186 in the postseason, with 11 hits and 59 postseason at-bats, with an OPS of just .635. Munson had 10 hits in his very first postseason series. If Thurman Munson separated himself from Ted Simmons in the postseason, he separated himself even further on defense. Of all positions on the diamond, defense at the catcher's position is the most vital. Catchers must be field leaders at every aspect of the game while taking a physical beating at the same time. It is critical to any team's success that the catcher must be strong defensively in order to win. Defensively, Munson and Simmons are light years apart. Thurman Munson controlled the running game from the first season of his career to the very last. His 44% caught stealing percentage is higher than Hall of Fame great Johnny Bench. Thurman Munson had a quick release with cat-like reflexes, even up to his last season in 1979 when he threw out 46% of base runners. For 7 consecutive seasons, he either led the league or was runner-up in assists and is the only catcher in history accomplishing such a feat. He was a 3-time Gold Glove winner, and the bigger the game, the bigger the performance. Simmons struggled mightily with the running game, 6 times leading the league in stolen bases allowed, 4 times in the National League, 2 times in the American League. During the decade of the 70s, Ted Simmons allowed 797 total stolen bases, 270 more than Thurman Munson's 527. In a recent study from the Society for American Baseball Research that includes catchers from as far back as 1890, Thurman Munson ranks 18th best all time in controlling the running game, while Ted Simmons finished far behind at 250th. Ted Simmons is the only catcher in baseball history since the start of the World Series in 1903 to have 2 seasons with 25 or more passed balls. During the 1970s, Ted Simmons surrendered 154 total passed balls compared to Munson's 88, remarkably nearly doubling Munson's total. These numbers tell part of the story of Ted Simmons. That stellar defense was a big issue, plaguing him throughout his career. Both players started over 1,200 games at catcher from 1970 to 1979. Both caught over 1,100 complete games, and both caught about 11,000 innings. Very heavy workloads indeed. But while we marvel at the terrific offensive careers of these 2 outstanding catchers, we marvel only at the defense of Thurman Munson in setting him apart from Simmons as the better all-around catcher. Combined with Munson possibly the best postseason catcher of all time, the choice between Munson and Simmons is clear, and has been since the day they played. Here is a quote from the September 13, 1976 issue of Sports Illustrated, and I quote, "The truth is, Munson is the best, and probably has been for the last 2 years. Cardinal Ted Simmons and Pirate Manny Sanguian do not have Munson's all-around ability. It is public acceptance of the notion that Munson is the #1 big league catcher, and perhaps even the most valuable player in the American League." And in 1976, Thurman Munson would go on to do just that. He became the 1976 American League Most Valuable Player. Thurman Munson was the 1970 American League Rookie of the Year. He was a 3-time Gold Glove winner in 1973, 1974, and 1975. He was the Yankee captain. He won the American League Most Valuable Player in 1976. He won the Sporting News Player of the Year in 1976. He was a back-to-back World Series champion in 1977 and 1978. When the Yankees rose to the pinnacle of baseball from 1975 to 1978, Thurman Munson hit .330 with 2 outs and runners in scoring position. The rest of his teammates batted .243 in the same situation. Thurman Munson is one of the greatest catchers of all time. Modern day war statistics bear this out. The numbers tell a big part of the story. Let's take a look. Our choice for the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown is Thurman Lee Munson. We hope he's your choice too. Thank you so very much.